Hi there, thanks for joining me and welcome back to the channel once again. So today we're having another look at one of these pocket money Matchbox purple range classic kits. I say pocket money, they were literally about 25 pence when they first came on the market. So yeah, quite an affordable, literally pocket money thing. 73, 74, long time ago. I mean, now, you know, the equivalent kits are made by Revel and they now cost £6 or something, so that tells you what inflation has done, but it's quite interesting, isn't it? Anyway, today it's the Brewster Buffalo, so let's have a look. This again is one of those kits, I think, with the artwork that many people will remember from their childhood. It shows one of these buffaloes, which was an American design. In this case it's in the hands of the New Zealand Squadron of the Royal Air Force. And they are having a big fight out with some Japanese Zeros by the look of it. It says here, New Zealand Squadron number 488 lose 2 aircraft, 5 damaged against a force of 27 Jap fighters. In their first combat mission in Singapore on the 12th of January 1942. Not quite sure this was quite as good as the Zero as a plane, don't think it was. Very unusual aircraft, isn't it? Very short, stubby little thing. But they were quite a good plane, just lacking, I think, a bit of speed perhaps. Anyway, this one is PK-24, as you can see. On the side we have got some adverts for other products in the range. We've got the Tempest, Mirage 3, Thunderbolt, Messerschmitt 262, and on the other side we have got the artwork, which just obviously shows you what the kit looks like if you build it without painting, and saying that no paints are necessary. On the back, some nice artwork here. We've got a couple of options. I'm actually just warning you, it's got some very gaudy red plastic in this kit. You might need your sunglasses on, I think I'm going to need them. Anyway, it says here that this Royal New Zealand Air Force squadron was at Kelang, Singapore, and also there was an option of the Dutch West Indies, the Dutch Militaire Luvat, Netherlands, the East Indies, and this is December 1941, so the Dutch had a presence and they'd bought these from the Americans by the look of it. Very interesting. So, without further ado, let's have a look what's in the box. And I'm sure this will bring back, it's such a dinky little aeroplane, it's almost like a bit toy-like actually, I have to say, the plane itself, you know. But I'm not sure the colours are going to help. Let's have a look. Whoops. Okay, I've got a feeling that we've not got a stand. Yeah, yes, it's just hiding in the instructions where it's safe from scratching. So we've got typical Matchbox ubiquitous stand. We know all about that one, obviously we've seen it zillions of times now. We've got a very red sprue, it's almost like McLaren Dayglow red orange, isn't it? Then we've got the instructions, and we've got the wings. So starting with, I'll just have a look at let's do the instructions first, because I jump around sometimes, don't I? Let's have a look. So it's true Generation 1 instructions, and we didn't check the date, did we? Yeah, 74 this came out, so this is sort of the second tranche of models. Yeah, I think if they've got a PK and it begins with a 2 instead of a 1, they came out 74 onwards. So, here we've got this nice purple, which is the correct original issue instruction leaflet, and it says the Brewster XFZA with a Wright Cyclone 9 engine flew in early 1938 and incorporated what then were very advanced features such as split flaps and retracting undercarriage. More powerful version with the R1820/34 engine was ordered in June 38. Delivery commenced in July 39, but the outbreak of war with the outbreak of the war, the majority of the aircraft were sent to Finland. Gosh, I didn't know that. How bizarre. Orders were also placed by the British government, but it was subsequently found that the aircraft was not suitable for use in Europe, and they were sent to the Far East and Australia and New Zealand Air Force squadrons before finally being taken out of service after the evacuation of Singapore. So they actually had quite a short span of life, probably less than a year. Dutch machines fought well in Java, but the Buffalo was superseded by later and more modern aircraft by 1943. Now the later and more modern aircraft would of course be the Vought Corsair, the F4U-A1, which was better in every way, stronger, faster, more manoeuvrable, etc. and better armoured. On the back we've got the colour call-outs for all your little parts. So we've got your wheels and tyres, you've got your gear legs, rear tail wheel, we've got an aerial and the inside of the, what looks like the inside of the wheel well, which also doubles as the inside of the cockpit on the top. Engine, shows the wheels again for some reason, not sure why. I think it must be perhaps it's a tail wheel? Why are they showing that again? That's very bizarre. Anyway, so I didn't pick up on these the first time I had them, but that is very odd. It seems to be telling you the same information. Part number 23 and 29 is exactly the same info. Anyway, cockpit seat, pilot, and then the rear cockpit area as well. In here we've got the typical Humbrol call-outs, and then, as usual, straight into the build with the pilot going in his seat. You've got this wheel well area and forward cockpit sort of area, because the wheels are this very unusual design that fold up under the front, very strange. They sort of tuck into the actual fuselage rather than into the wings. That goes all in and you put your two sides of the fuselage together. Then you're building up your cowl and your engine frontage, which looks quite nice actually. Then there's the prop and the spin, of course. Those go on the front of the aircraft along with your, looks like a fire extinguisher they've got there. They're probably going to need that just behind the pilot's head and your canopy. Then we've got the tail planes going on, bringing the wings together, and you have aerial on the front, and there's in fact there's a couple of different types of aerial actually, isn't there? And then you've got these unusual gear legs and doors, and then you can see how it, in this final picture as it all comes together, you can see that unusual design where the legs are in the wings but the wheels and tyres actually go up into the central fuselage. And of course if you want them to be retracted and on the stand, you do it slightly differently, of course. So, interesting. Now then, I quite like this plane. For some reason, I think I had several of these back in the day. 74, yeah, it would be 74 actually. Show me age. But I think it was because they were cheaper. I don't know what. I'm not saying they were always cheaper, but I'm sure in my local post office it was cheaper. And I think it was about 5p cheaper than the other kits were. Perhaps they weren't very popular. And they had a few of them. I think that nobody else bought them. So I had one. And I think I went back and had another later. One got broke. You know. Anyway, let's have a look at the parts. Well, first of all, let's see the decals. These look very nice. New Zealand Air Force decals, or these rather strange triangles that the Dutch have. Not the most attractive of aircraft markings, the Dutch one, is it really? Sorry, I'm not criticising Holland, I'm just saying it's a bit odd. I think it's the fact it's a triangle that looks odd. If it had them as roundels, it would have made more sense. Anyway, you can clearly see the NF for the markings for this particular one for New Zealand. Very nice, in great condition. Now we have the canopy. Let's have a looky. If the camera will just come to heel, there we go. Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? It's a very, it's a bit like a greenhouse, isn't it? The canopy. It's, I suppose it's trying to create a bubble canopy, isn't it? But they didn't have the technology at the time in the late 30s to create a one-piece bubble, so they have this framework. It's quite a big one. So the visibility should have been fairly good. And then we have the wings sprue here, and they're quite stubby little wings, aren't they? It's got a very short dimensions and narrow dimensions, this plane. It's got a short wingspan, it's got a short fuselage, stubby, I think that's the word, but there's no raised panel line, so that's quite nice. It's yeah, it's quite a nice, very soft moulding, you could say, and perhaps you could say they're rather vague and not very distinct panel lines, but they're all recessed, which is good. We prefer that, don't we? Then you've got your engine, and your tailplanes, and your spinner. And of course on this side we've got the prop. So it's quite a conventional build-up, isn't it, really? It's just, you know, on the underside of the wing you can see that they've gone and put the tips. They've just got an insert for this bit. Everything's already there, really, isn't it? The ailerons, flaps, these split flaps they're boasting about. Right, there we go. And then this is time to put your sunglasses on, folks, because this is very, very loud, I've got to say. We've got this day glow red, absolutely astonishing colour, and you can see how strange this sort of aircraft's dimensions are in the appearance. Very, very stubby looking. It's got a very short, small tail, and then it has this big, radial engine at the front. But I don't think it was that powerful. Does it actually give me performance figures now? Yes, it does actually. It says maximum speed 324 miles an hour. It's not great really. That's not enough. It's probably about 40-50 miles an hour short of what it needs to be. And then we have this rather interesting gear bay door that we talked of. It's like a two-sided, like a tub, and this is where your wheels retract into. We've got the pilot seat here, and obviously we've got the outer cowling pieces, and then the front cowling, the very lip of the cowling here, and then this thing that looks like a fire extinguisher. It doesn't help that these are in red, it makes them look awfully strange. There's your wheels and tyres, and then you've got your, I think they're guns, no, it's part of the undercarriage. And there you have it. So it's a very unusual design. It does have some raised panel lines on the fuselage, actually. The lining here, that's raised. So that needs to be, that's a bit disappointing. I doubt that's on the real aircraft, I've got to be honest. But it's certainly a very, very bright Matchbox-ish looking sprue, that I've got to say. I mean, you wouldn't confuse that with an Airfix, would you, in that colour? Anyway, there we have it. So, that is the Brewster Buffalo. And it's a nice little kit, actually. I built it, I remember it's quite good fun. It's quite a dinky little thing, you know. It's almost a third smaller than a Spitfire. It's a very small plane, really. But definitely remember it well. Had it back in the day, and I'm sure some of you did too. I think, apart from some of this very, very slight raised panel lines, apart from that, it's really nice actually. Better than some of the others in terms of that. 8 out of 10, 8.5, 8.5, no problem. Thanks for joining me. I hope you'll give me a 10 out of 10 by giving me a like. Please share the video if you found it interesting, and subscribe if you haven't already, and do remember to ding the notification bell, because that's how you'll get notification of further forthcoming and imminent exciting videos in the near future. Thanks a lot for joining me anyway, and in the meantime, before the next video, take care of yourselves. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.